O-H.
O-E.
I-O.
E-O.
Nice.
Can you say
G's.
Emmy?
To Emmy.
Amy.
Emerson.
Emerson.
In 2009, an American couple began a journey that would forever change 3 lives. They traveled all the way to Shangrao, a small city in Jiangxi Province, China, to adopt a baby girl. She had been abandoned at the gates of an orphanage shortly after birth. Her Chinese name was Wan Huling. At that moment, she was just one among millions of orphans in the world, but this tiny life would go on to light up an entire family. The first time they saw her photo, their eyes immediately filled with tears. A small face, a fragile body staring into the camera, completely alone. Their hearts broke just looking at her. They kept going back to that photo, as if trying to read her story through her innocent eyes. This couple wasn't struggling with infertility. They already had 3 healthy, lively sons, and their home was filled with laughter and joy. But to them, family wasn't just about biology, it was about love and responsibility. When they told friends and relatives they were adopting a little girl from China, everyone was surprised. But the couple simply said, "Giving life is a blessing, saving a life is a calling." So they began the adoption process. It took 3 long years, forms, interviews, endless waiting. But through it all, they never gave up. After 3 years of waiting, the call finally came. The adoption agency told them they could go bring their daughter home. The couple was overwhelmed with emotion. Tears welled up in their eyes. They had already chosen a name for her, Emerson Grace. And back home, her 3 big brothers could hardly wait. They asked every single day, "When is our little sister coming?" The whole family prepared for Aimee's arrival with so much love. Her brothers picked out toys themselves, hoping they'd make her smile. Mom stocked up on snacks, guessing which flavors she might like. And most importantly, they put together a special photo of the entire family, Mom, Dad, and the 3 smiling boys. On a sunny day at the beach, they wrote her name, Amy, in the sand, as if telling the world, "We're ready, come home." With hearts full of hope, Mom and Dad boarded a flight to China. They first landed in Beijing, halfway around the world from home. While waiting to meet Aimee, they visited the Forbidden City, climbed the Great Wall, and took in the rich history of this ancient land. But their minds weren't on the scenery. Every day felt like a countdown, because what really mattered wasn't the journey itself. It was the little girl they were about to hold for the very first time. May 24th, 2009, a day they would never forget. In a quiet restaurant in Jiangxi, they finally met Aimee. Mom gently picked her up. Aimee didn't move much. She just stared quietly at this unfamiliar woman. But Mom couldn't hold back her emotions. Tears streamed down her face as she kissed her daughter and whispered softly through sobs. Surprisingly, Aimee didn't cry. She wasn't scared and she didn't resist. It was as if, deep down, she already knew. These were her people. She nestled into her mother's arms and even smiled. Dad touched her little head and couldn't help but smile too. Aim was calm, quiet, and full of gentle warmth. She smelled faintly of milk and innocence. Her sweet little smile was like sunshine, melting away the jet lag, the nerves, and the exhaustion. In that one moment, all their worries disappeared. They were a family now. While the adoption paperwork was still being processed, Mom and Dad decided to take Aimee to see the place where her life began. They walked through the countryside, past rice fields and winding dirt roads. They stopped to watch local farmers working the land and greeted the kind villagers they met along the way. She looked around curiously, quietly taking it all in. She was too young to understand what any of it meant. But her parents hoped that even for just a moment, something from this land would stay in her heart. It was a farewell to her past and a promise of the love that lay ahead. As their time in Jiangxi came to an end, the family returned to the place that had once changed Amei's fate, the orphanage. The staff arranged a small farewell ceremony. Mothers from other adoptive families gathered together with their children for a group photo. There were smiles, hugs, and silent goodbyes. Following the adoption process, Emei and her parents traveled south to Guangzhou. There, they completed medical checkups, official paperwork, and final interviews. They explored the streets and alleys of the city in between appointments. Though the process was tedious at times, the family stayed joyful through it all. During the day, they handled documents and appointments. At night, they took Emei out to enjoy local food and the glow of the city lights. When everything was finally complete, Mom dressed Emei in a little dress they had picked out long ago, one with the American flag on the front. Emei held a small Stars and Stripes flag in her hand, her face filled with innocence and wonder. She was ready to step into a brand new life. At last, it was time to fly home. The family boarded their flight to the United States, and after more than 10 hours in the air, they landed, finally home. At the airport, Emei's 3 brothers were already waiting, practically bouncing with excitement. The moment they saw her, they rushed forward and wrapped her in the biggest, warmest hugs. "Welcome home," they shouted. Though she was just a toddler, Emei felt their love immediately. She laughed out loud, grabbed onto one of her brother's sleeves, and looked up at them with eyes full of trust. It was her very first day in a new country, but in her heart, she already knew. This was home. Back at their new home, Emei quickly became part of the family. She smiled all the time, played with her brothers, and followed Mom and Dad everywhere. Dad and Mom often took her on walks along the beach, where she would run across the sand and build little castles. They loved taking her to the supermarket and to the park, slowly introducing her to this new world. Her brothers adored her, pushing her on the toy car or tossing a football around the yard. Soon, Emei celebrated her 2nd birthday. The family held a small, warm party filled with balloons, cake, presents, and laughter. She could walk steadily by then and loved spinning in circles and dancing. When she got dizzy, she would tumble into Mom's arms, making everyone laugh. She loved her little kitchen toys. She would carefully arrange tiny pots and pans, pretend to fry eggs or stir-fry vegetables, and then proudly serve her meals to the whole family. Besides her kitchen toys, Emei also showed a strong interest in music. She found a little friend to play with, and the two of them would sit together, playing on the keyboard and singing. Even though she had no idea how to actually play, her focus and joy touched everyone around her. Time passed quietly, and the family's love grew deeper through everyday moments. Her brothers grew up, entered new stages of life, and even had children of their own. And Amy, once a baby held tightly in their arms, grew into a graceful young woman. Now she is about to start college and begin a new chapter in life. Her parents often say, she is a gift from above. Looking back, there were long waits, tiring journeys, and moments of uncertainty. But all of it was answered by Aimé's smile, her growth, and her strength. They truly believe love is not bound by blood, but by the connection between hearts.
T's. Emmy. Say O-H. O-H. I-O. Say football. Say go. Go. O-H. I-O.
Say Ohio.
Say Emmy.